Day 5, we went on an ATV and UTV tour with Action Tours Aruba. The option we chose was the UTV Natural Pool Tour. This was our most thrilling day of the trip. We wanted to explore more of the island and some places you can't get to with a bus or a car. Originally, we were going to take a Jeep tour, but I'm so glad we chose this instead. We got to explore so much more than we thought because of our awesome tour guide, Jesse. The tour takes you along the coast and into the national park. My sister and I decided to take the back seats in the 6-person Polaris, and my mom and aunt took turns driving. The back seats were definitely more fun because you get tossed around a lot more. It's definitely a wild ride no matter who is driving because of all the different terrain. And there were new sights to see around every corner. Not only was this a fun adventure, but also beautiful taking in all there was to see. Just a quick tip that we didn't know until we got there. You will want some kind of cloth to go over your nose and mouth because there is so much sand being kicked up, and a tied bandana isn't going to work. Along the same lines, you will also want something to protect your eyes, such as glasses or goggles. Here we're coming up to a little hut right before we come up to a little passage into the ocean here. This was really pretty, and it is right before our first stop actually. So let's take a quick picture because this is a pretty view. The first stop, this was Baby Bridge, which is currently still standing, unlike the natural bridge that collapsed years ago. We walked around and climbed on top and took a few pictures. The second stop was a cave pool, which wasn't easy to get to. Wear shoes. The only way to get in was to jump, so we did. We didn't bring any cameras or phones, so we didn't get much footage here. Not too far from the cave pool was our third stop. Here was the only food and bathroom area of the tour, just a heads up. This was the old gold mines. We were able to go in, climb around, and explore the site. It was pretty cool. And the views from here were really pretty. The ocean on one side and the desert on the other. Then we drove through the national park. It was a long drive through steep and narrow trails. Just a quick side note here, the people in front of us lost their phones because they had them in zipper pockets and most of them broke, so just be careful. Our fourth stop was the natural pool. It was a short, rocky hike to get there, but it was beautiful. Although as you will see, it was extremely crowded. When we looked under the water, it was just a bunch of kicking feet. And, of course, there was a spot for people to jump from. But don't get cold feet. They'll make you jump. Hey, look at all these little crabs scurrying around our feet and as we climb up to jump off. From the jumping spot, the view is really pretty. Minus all the people below. To get away from all the people, I found a little spot behind the jumping area, a little mini pool where nobody else was. Then we drove by a rock formation in the desert. Halfway through our trip, we noticed that we were very secure in the back seat. Not really. My sister's strap had to be tied to the rail behind us and my buckle broke off. But we survived. My mom asked our tour guide to stop at the chapel. So we did. And just a quick side note here. They have a little coconut stand with really expensive fresh coconut water, but it is really good. Okay, now for our next stop, or so we thought, was the lighthouse, but we just drove right by it. Next thing we knew, we were in a desert of red sand, pretty much slipping everywhere. Another quick side note, don't wear white because it will definitely stain. We are now on our way to our last stop, which was truly a hidden gem in our eyes. It's an unnamed beach where we later came back during our trip and had the hardest time finding it, but we were determined and luckily found it again. There's a nice jumping off point which we took advantage of. It was so much fun. We jumped multiple times. The water here was so clear and such a beautiful blue. We felt really comfortable swimming over here because we could see all around us. And if you didn't want to jump in, you could always go down these stairs they carved into the rock. Later that evening, we went to a restaurant at a neighboring resort called Mango's. The resort was Amsterdam Manor. We had a beautiful view of the sunset. This restaurant has special menus for each night of the week. The day we were there, the special menu was a 3-course French dinner. The starters we got are onion soup. I think this dish was the beef tenderloin. The carpaccio, a mango pineapple salad. I ordered the red snapper lemon with a summer squash medley. If I remember correctly, I really enjoyed my meal here. And for dessert, creme brulee. And that's how we closed out our 5th night in Aruba.